Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre. 1-on-1, your boy, Seth Rollins emerging victorious or by disqualification, but even before the bell rang, thanks to interference from Dolph Ziggler, this was a real good match. Drew and Seth worked very well together. Seth has had his work cut out for him recently because he's been facing Dolph and he's been facing Drew, and Drew's been interfering in Dolph's matches, and Dolph's been interfering in Drew's matches. So it goes both ways, and Seth cannot seem to win a decisive match without one interfering in the other's matches. But as a match, I thought it was great. Seth Rollins is firing on all cylinders right now in his pursuit of getting back the Intercontinental Championship. This puppy sitting right next to you. That belt right there, that my child, essentially. Don't touch without my permission. Don't touch Belty. Don't you even freaking put your tongue on it either. That's weird. You don't know where that thing's been. Yeah, go ahead and lick it. You don't know where that thing's been. That's been around the waist of some sweaty-ass man in Milwaukee. Yeah, and you lick it anyway. Disgusting. Now I know what I'm getting into here. Maybe I have to consider going out with this girl. Anyway, so, just kidding. I love you. So, yeah, Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre getting back on track here. Your thoughts on the match, and how much behind were you, how behind Seth Rollins were you for him to win this match?
I just want to preface this. Seth Rollins and I are married.
Okay.
Ever since.
As Bailey and I are as well, so we have that in common.
Exactly.
Okay. We can double date.
Yeah.
I'm into that.
We could. Let's do it.
Let's book it.
Actually, Seth Rollins might be a little eerie about that. I don't know.
Okay. He knows he's got competition. Gotcha.
Yeah, that's true.
Gotcha.
Competition.
Mm-hmm. Bailey too.
I have to watch out for you.
Bailey might have to watch out for you. We'll see.
I'm always very invested in him. Seth Rollins just has it. He doesn't have it nearly as much as anyone, the very big people do.
I think he does.
I think he does to a certain extent. He doesn't have it the Rock. He will never.
Well, no one's ever going to be the next Rock. That's a little different.
You'll find that. I think at some point. There's always that one person.
Okay. She's optimistic. She's always optimistic. You're too optimistic sometimes. But go ahead.
There's always that one person that just blows up.
Eventually.
In every group.
No one on the roster is right now. I don't think there's the next Stone Cold. There's The Rock, but...
No. But Seth Rollins, I really like him. He's been my favorite for a very long time, ever since I first watched wrestling. But I was rooting for him.
You were rooting for him?
I was rooting for him.
Emerged victorious here. Again, once again proving that the odds are not in Seth's favor. So he's got the odds stacked against him, 2-1, with Drew and Dolph. Mm-hmm. At SummerSlam, it will be Seth versus Drew McIntyre, Dolph Ziggler again for the Intercontinental Championship. No stipulation on this match. The last one was an Iron Man match. This is just a straightforward, standard singles match. And if Seth wins, he gets back the belt. If he doesn't, it might be over for him in the Intercontinental Championship picture. As of right now, though, knowing that Drew is in the corner of Dolph at the pay-per-view, does Seth have any remotely chance of a shot of getting back the gold?
I hope so. I don't know.
You hope so?
I want to say yes. But I can't see that happening.
Seth winning?
I want to see it happening, but at the same time, would it be more interesting if he didn't? Or would it be more interesting if he did? What would happen after that? Where would the rest of that go?
That's the thing with Seth. I think if he loses again, I'm not sure where he goes. Or, who else he goes after, or what else there is to vie for.
Does his character change?
Maybe.
Or...
knowing that he can't get the job done, maybe.
Maybe he turns bad again.
He could. He very well could, but I like his current role as a good guy, because the people are very much behind him right now.
I liked him as a bad guy.
I think he's good as a bad guy.
I was first watching him when he was a bad guy, and I just loved it.
He's just great right now as a good guy.
I think he could go either way.
He really could. He's great in general. He's great with both characters. I'll ask you this question, because I know you're personally invested. Seth Rollins, like I said, got the deck stacked against him here, against Drew and Dolph. He needs some sort of backup. Is this the time we see Dean Ambrose
That's
return
a good
to Raw?
question.
Do we see Dean return to Raw in the near future to aid Seth in his feud against Drew and Dolph?
Listen, if that happened, that's a great idea. Props to you for thinking of that.
Just saying.
That's a very good idea, and I think if that happened, it would spice it up a little bit more.
I think it'd be one way to bring back not Drew McIntyre, Dean. There's a lot of D's here. Drew, Dean, Dolph, and then Seth. But it would be a logical way to bring him back into the fold.
It would make perfect sense. It would be smooth. all of that, it would add more interest to it.
Yeah, and it's not random
great.
either. I think is the last time we saw Dean, he was tagging with Seth. They're very good friends. So it would make sense for him to come back and, aid Seth in his assault on Drew and Dolph. And I think we could maybe even next week, maybe not at SummerSlam, but maybe even next week, Drew is facing one of them again. And then Dolph interferes or Drew interferes, whatever. And then they're beaten down, and they're beaten down, and they keep on going. And then just out of nowhere, you just hear Dean Ambrose's music go off. And I would just freak the fuck out.
I'm getting too excited. Stop.
How amazing would that be? It would be so cool.
I missed hearing that.
It would be so good.
That's good, and that would also give Seth something like a place to go and something to do. That's a good idea.
Fuck, I'm really pissing myself off here because now that I say that, I think he might come back on the Raw after SummerSlam, and now I really want to go to that Raw, but I also want to go to that SmackDown, so I don't know which one to go to now, which one we should go to. I think SmackDown will be the better show, but I think Raw might have more returns in store from Dean Ambrose, so I'm not sure.
It would be good either way. You pick one.
I won't say, fuck.
I mean...
Because I really want to see Dean Ambrose, so we'll see.
I promised my husband I might see him.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know. My other husband, Daniel Bryan.
Oh, wow. Okay, she's two-timing.
Dean Ambrose, my third husband.
Oh, my goodness. Four-timing now. Jesus. This hot little number over here. Balancing between guys. Jesus.
Yeah,
I know, yeah.
The most important one's in front of me, though.
Oh, God, you're such a sweetheart. I see how you salvaged yourself there. You saved yourself. Good comeback. Yeah. So, Dean, Seth,
That's
Drew,
a great...
Dolph.
Are you calling that right now?
I'm going to call it. Because I don't see how else you can bring back Dean if he's not involved with Seth Rollins.
Do you think it's about time for him to come back, too?
I heard September, but he can always come back. September's next month. He can come back ahead of schedule.
Well, yeah. Don't you think they could have said September?
Yeah, absolutely. Braun Strowman, he got hurt last year. They said he'd be out for 6 months. Came back in 6 weeks. They said that because they knew he'd be back sooner, but they wanted to seem impressive. Like, oh my God, he's back earlier. But they knew he would be back. He'd be out for 6 weeks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, we'll see. But I do like the idea of Seth and Dean reuniting against Drew and Dolph. And that being the way that...
I would cry such happy tears.
And then maybe Roman Reigns gets involved and we get the Shield. Sierra Hotel, India Echo Lima Delta, the Shield. I think that would be... awesome. So, we'll see.
Awesome. Okay, that would be.
We'll see.